This is a tutorial about shooting interactive stand-ups using the DJI Osmo Mobile 3. Here's the equipment you'll need. You'll need an Osmo Mobile 3 gimbal, the DJI Mimo app, a tripod with a tripod plate, and a Rode Wireless Go mic kit. Before you go out to shoot, make sure your gimbal is fully charged. Use the provided USB cable to charge the gimbal here. Attach the tripod plate to the 1/4-inch hole at the bottom of the gimbal as you see here. Once you have the gimbal mounted on the tripod plate, you have to balance the phone. The gimbal is still off, by the way. Don't turn it on until after the phone is balanced. So what you want to do, you'll see up here, it says the phone camera direction. So you want your camera's phone to go this way. You'll wrap the gimbal around the phone like this. Now obviously that's not good. You want to balance it horizontally and vertically. So all you have to do is push the device this way so that it stays horizontal. Might take a couple of tries. I went too far, let me go back this way. Alright, that's pretty good. Then you have to do the same thing vertically. It's actually pretty good on its own, but let me mess it up a little bit just to show you what you have to do. If you go too far in one direction or the other, push it back so that the phone doesn't flop over. Once you have it lined up, let go and see. Yep, everything looks pretty good. We can turn the gimbal on. Now it defaults to portrait mode, but if you hit the button twice, the M button here, it'll turn to landscape, which is how you'll want to shoot your stand-ups. When it comes to audio, I mentioned the Rode Wireless Go mics. In the equipment room, we have two configurations. We have the Rode Wireless Go, like you see here, which is one transmitter, one receiver. And we have the Rode Wireless Go 2 mics, which features two transmitters, one receiver. So if you're working alone, either option is fine. If you're working with two people that you want to do in the stand-up, then you'll need to get the Rode Wireless Go 2 system. When working with the Rode Wireless Go mics, it's important to know which one's the transmitter and which one's the receiver. And it's really easy to tell them apart. Your receiver is the one with the little screen like this on the front because that's the part that goes attached to your phone so you can see the signal that's being recorded. And then this is your transmitter. To turn on the receiver, the power button is right up here. And to turn on the transmitter, the power button is down here at the bottom. There is also a built-in mic right here and also the ability to add a lavalier. All you have to do is plug that in like this, and now you have your wireless lav ready to go. One important thing to note about the receiver is this icon right down here, this little ramp looking thing. What happens is down here you have the option to add dB or decibels of gain. And if you click that, you'll see at 1 dB of gain. You'll click it again, and now that's 2 dBs of gain. And if you click it again, I'm at 3 dBs of gain. This is going to increase the output of the receiver, but it's also going to add more noise. I found that usually 2 is a safe place to be because 1 tends to be a little too quiet. 2 gives me the range I need, and then I can add a little bit more of gain once I'm inside of Premiere to get my audio levels just right. So generally, I would leave it like this, though of course you're free to experiment on your own and see which way works best for you. Now, in order to connect this to your phone, you need this cable here. Now you want to work with this cable, the one with the gray end and the black end. You do not want to work with the other cable in the kit, the one with the 2 black ends. Don't use that one. If you have an iPhone, which most of you do, you also need this cable here, which is a lightning adapter connector. This end gets connected to the gray end of the cable, like this. And the other end goes to the receiver. It's easy to remember because the black end of the cable goes to the black receiver, black to black. Now that that goes here, this end goes to your phone. So here we are with the gimbal mounted on the tripod. Let's go ahead and connect the lightning connector to the phone. Now the tricky part is what to do with the receiver. You want to put it somewhere safe so that there's no tension on the line. So usually I just lay it right here, somewhere so that it's not going to knock the phone off balance because you need to keep that phone level when shooting with the gimbal. So find a safe place to put it where it's not putting any additional tension on that line. If you haven't done so already, now would be the time to go in and download the DJI Mimo app. In order for this to work, you have to make sure the Bluetooth is turned on your phone. Go ahead and mount it in the gimbal and turn the gimbal on. And then you want to come down here inside the Mimo app to the 3 dots on the lower left-hand corner. You're going to click that, and under Device Management, you want to click Connect. Right here, when you see the name of the gimbal pop up under Device Connection, if you see DJI Device Connected, you're good to go. One last thing of setup when it comes to the DJI Mimo app, you want to make sure you're shooting in 4K, so tap right here, and these are the different resolutions you can shoot in. You want to choose 3840 by 2160 at 30 frames per second. This is going to give you maximum flexibility when you're editing your project later in Premiere, because you'll be able to reframe the shots, scale it up quite a bit, up to like 50% without any noticeable loss in quality. So this will take up more space on your phone, but it'll be advantageous later. You also want to click the 3 dots down here again one more time and make sure FT Selfie is turned on. This is going to be helpful if you're working with the front-facing camera. This first example is going to be the back-facing camera. Then you're going to click here and make sure follow mode is set to follow, and everything else is fine. You could just tap off the screen like this to get rid of that menu. Okay, so I lied earlier when I said that was the last thing. We have one more bit of setup, and that's turning on the active track. This will allow the gimbal to follow you as you move throughout the shot. The way you're going to do that is you're going to look for this hand icon over here on the right side of the screen under the record button. Once you turn it on here, gesture control, you want to make sure it's on follow and shoot, tap off to get rid of that menu. Alright, so once that's on, you raise your hand like this to activate it. It will find you, and after a couple seconds it'll automatically start recording and you can begin your stand-up. So as you do a walk and talk, for example, the gimbal will pan to follow you like you see here. And this will go on as long as you go back and forth. Ideally, somebody will be here to turn the camera off or to stop the recording for you. If not, you can just sort of reach around and do it yourself. One thing to keep in mind is that using active track will burn a lot of battery on your phone especially, so make sure your devices are fully charged before you begin doing this. If you prefer to use the front-facing camera, there are 2 ways to get there. There's a little icon at the top right of the screen here inside the Mimo app. There you see it there. Another way to get to the front-facing camera, let me reset this, there's a little trigger in the front of the gimbal. If you press that 3 times consecutively quickly, it'll change to the front-facing camera. It finds your face because the selfie mode is turned on. If your shot has too much headroom like we do here, you can use the built-in joystick to adjust the shot. You can tilt the camera, you can pan it, set it up however you want. Once you're happy with the way the shot looks, just go ahead and hit the record button and begin your stand-up. Notice the gimbal will track you as you move throughout the piece, whether you pan or you come closer or farther away, the gimbal will keep you centered in the frame. Once your stand-up is done, go ahead and hit stop on the record, and then to see all the shots you've got throughout the day, in the bottom right-hand corner there's a little arrow button. You're going to go ahead and press that, and there's your library of clips, which you can airdrop to yourself for later editing in Premiere. Once you're done, hold down the M button to turn off the gimbal, and then you want to look for these 2 dots here on the side. You want to make sure they align. Once they're aligned here, you're going to fold the gimbal over itself with the holder like this, so that that little part enters right in there, and so it's a kind of snap shut before you put the gimbal away.